If you're mean, rough, and tough like Trish here, you'll be glad you stuck around for more Explore Tulsa.
You don't have to be mean to appreciate rugby. And yes, there are men's and ladies teams that compete right here in Tulsa.
Come on, let's get on the field with the Tulsa Rugby Football Club.
Rugby originated in England, so it's big over there. The big powerhouses in the world for rugby are in New Zealand and then South Africa and Australia. They're typically almost always top three. And then France and England and Ireland, they'll always put on a good side usually. Started with Tulsa Rugby originally as when I was in high school in Broken Arrow, and they were sort of the oversight kind of thing. They were sort of mentors for us. And so I played through high school and played through college and came out here, and it's just where I wanted to be, competitive rugby. They've been here since '74, playing pretty much straight through. Then in '99, they decided to have bring in the high school, start a high school system so they'd have a more solid base to recruit from, and it served well. We have several guys out here right now who are actually in the first couple of years of high school program, as well as myself, and it's blossomed throughout. We have a pretty diverse backgrounds. I'm an engineer by trade. We have attorneys, we have surgeons, we have entrepreneurs. It pretty much spreads everything. Our personal trainers, police force, fire department, it's everywhere. And the draw to this sport is, there's no defense, there's no offense. Everyone catches the ball, runs the ball, tackles the ball. You've got to be really a well-rounded athlete to be effective at it, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people think the no pads thing is insane, but you learn how to hit in rugby. You can't hit in rugby like you do in football because you just won't survive. So there's basic things of head placement and shoulder placement and using your arms to wrap up. And the law enforces that a lot too. So you can't just be shoulder charging people or anything like that. Yeah, a lot of people confuse rugby as just being a combination of soccer and football, and it's really not. Football was originated as rugby. It developed from it. And rugby, you can only pass the ball backwards. You can't pass forward. There's no blocking of any type. The play is continuous throughout, like soccer. That's kind of one of the only similarities with soccer. Is just there's never a stop. Once someone gets tackled, you continue on. There's a forward pack and then there's the back line. The forward pack is kind of like the linemen. Your centers in football, your guards in football, they came from what we call the front row. And from there you have two more guys behind them, one more guy behind them, and then guys in the flankers. And you have positions, if someone comes from football, which is common, you have positions where you know where they'll probably be. Like linebackers, we know where they're going to play because they hit hard, they play hard. You have speed, those are in the back line. The back line is kind of like the defensive backs, running backs. That's where typically your striking happens. So those are the guys you want to strike through gaps and put your points on the board. To start a game in rugby, it's a kickoff. It's just usually a drop kick where you drop the ball, it hits the ground, and the kicker kicks it, and the receiving team takes it. And from there, open play just begins. They go up till they're tackled. Once the tackle's made, a ruck is formed, and there's specific rules that define what you can do in the ruck, and you're basically just trying to drive the other team off of it so you can play the ball out. And it's a continuous cycle of that. And then scoring is similar to football. You go to pretty much the end zone, but once you cross the line, you have to put downward pressure on the ball to the ground, called a try, and that's worth 5 points. The conversion kick is worth 2 points, and then for certain infractions, penalties, you can choose to kick for points, which is pretty much a field goal in football, and that's worth 3 as well. And then in open play, there's an option called a drop kick, which is like the kickoff. You just drop the ball, it hits the ground, and then you kick it through, and that's worth 3 as well if you can pull that off. People play sports for different reasons. A lot of us are really competitive. We've got to have something to have our minds engaged and our bodies engaged. And this provides an outlet for that. And you show up, you take it seriously. It's something to really apply your mind outside of work and get away from everything. And to be competitive and come out and rely on a team that you're a part of and to be successful with, it's a big deal. And that's what Tulsa is. We've done real well over the past few years.